Yo, what's up everyone? Can we do a mic test here real quick? Can you guys hear me? I don't have my headphones on. My headphones are toasted. The ear cups are now completely destroyed. I don't know if you guys saw it in the last live stream, but they're totally destroyed now. Also, I'm sorry if the fan noise is too loud. It's kind of weird that I can't hear my own voice. But if you guys could hear me, that means we're all good. Can you guys hear the fan noise? Okay, perfect. So, how's everyone doing? We got Amir in here. Dude, Amir, like, I think 60% of my followers is either Armenian, like they're from the Middle East, like even from Iran, and also like Egypt, Morocco. We also have people from Armenia, Cyprus. It's crazy. I think like 60% of the people. It's crazy. And like, I don't even know how or why. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's so strange. We got like 60% of my audience all from the Middle East, basically. It's kind of funny. And then like the 20% is straight from Europe, and then the rest of the 20% is from the United States. I don't know, man. I guess I'm like I'm a magnet towards the Middle East, man. Maybe they just like Elliott wave theory. I don't know. Oh, and yeah, and from Africa too, dude. Like 5 or 10% is from Africa as well. We have one person from like the Ivory Coast, Nigeria. So funny, but awesome at the same time. It's kind of cool. We got a lot of people all over, truly global. That's why the name is X-Force Global. Yo, welcome guys. Philippines, India, Netherlands, Norway, man, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, just put all your questions in now, ladies and gentlemen, then I'll get to the questions later. I think it's better, because I will read through the comments. So if your questions are like on the bottom, then it's going to be difficult to like get through it. I might not even have time to get through all the questions today, if there are even questions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button and then we'll get this live stream started. France, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Germany, okay. Truly global, man. We got like one from like every country. I'm still awaiting Antarctica. I can't do any like mic tests or level for the music, so it might be a little loud. I don't know. I can't even hear my own voice. I'm not doing any requests today, ladies and gentlemen. If donations, I will accept for requests, but today we're just gonna go over Bitcoin real quick. But right off the bat, Tesla, yeah, I do see it going down to 70 or 80 bucks a pop. Is that better? Did I turn down the music a bit? Is that better? You're welcome, Bobby. That's a good question, above all. Hold on, let me see how many likes we have, and maybe I'll just answer that question right now. Okay, we can do it. So you're asking about a diagonal and a wave one. All right, we'll go over that right now. So for a diagonal, it's very simple, my man. I'll even just do it for here. A leading diagonal, that is. So you got this variation right here, right? So the first part of the question, ladies and gentlemen, this person is asking, in a wave 1 diagonal, is it a must for the waves to be 5 subwaves or 3 waves? Now for the leading diagonal variation, is that you need to have either or. So there's the 53535, which means that you have 53535, and that's one possible variation, and then there's a 33333 variation. So very simply put, there's just only two variations of the leading diagonal. Now, another thing that you have to keep in mind for the diagonal is that it can't truncate. It has to either overshoot, but it can't be truncated. Now, within an ending diagonal, it can truncate and create an orthodox top. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay? And your second part of the question is, what I've known is that a diagonal with 3 subwaves instead of 5 can only be as a wave C. No, that's incorrect. It could be a wave 1 or... Wait, what? C? Okay, so I think you're kind of confusing yourself and me. This either leads into a wave 1 or A. That's it. That's a leading diagonal. 1 or A. But the only difference in the contracting variation, or the expanding variation for that matter, is this. The wavelengths have to be also intact. You can't have wave 5 longer than wave 3, but wave 1 could be as long as it wants to be, as long as you have the remaining subwaves contracting in nature or expanding in nature, where wave 5 has to be longer. And again, you can't have this truncated, and that always leads into a 1 or A, okay? Of a zigzag, whatever it is you want to call it. That's the only way we can be seeing it. For the ending diagonal, same thing. The ending diagonal is, it can truncate, but it only is working in the 3-3-3-3-3 variation. That's the only possible variation that you can have. Time, okay, yeah, well, I think we can go over time, but really time is not something important. I think some people put emphasis into the time Fibonacci analysis, but it's useless in my opinion. You'll get a pretty good idea of how long this wave 4 is working time. I mean, just look at the number of days it is right now compared to the wave 2. The only time that you really want to be comparing it is if it's starting to look too large in time. That's all. And if it extends past, the 1.618 Fibonacci in time, then that is something to be considering. Then it may be a different structure in itself. Like, for example, this wave 3-4, it's exactly almost pretty much the same exact time as the wave 1-2. So that's why I'm expecting some kind of breakout either to the upside or to the downside. I think we're ready to resolve this current range. So you don't need to focus too much on it. And actually, it's just my own personal preference. I mean, if you want to learn it and complicate it more, then that's completely up to you. If you like to do that, go ahead. But to me, it's just putting a little bit too much bias into the theory in itself. The theory is really relatively simple. If you try to keep it simple, some people overcomplicate it too much, and that's a problem. Hopefully that was helpful. So keep it simple. If you want to understand my own methodology, just keep it simple. Don't even use time Fibonacci. Sometimes you can, but more often than not, they're really inaccurate anyways. You can just get a rough idea of like where you may be positioned in terms of the time, but it's just that. And plus, the Elliott wave theory, it doesn't really even teach you about time. It's just more of the integrity of the actual structure in itself. Is there some kind of alternation being built? So forth. It's very simple. It's just, are you working in an impulse wave? Are you working in a motive wave of some sort? Are you working in a corrective structure? Just figure it out that way and you'll be good to go. For me, this is still prematurely assuming that this leading diagonal may be in, but it's the only motive pattern that could be created after termination of wave 4. So there's some kind of train of thought that you have to be creating on the way. For stocks, you should join my Discord. I have a stock channel that's dedicated to stocks. I don't know if you guys know that. I mean, I used to share stocks. I don't know if you guys know, but You know, I've always shared stocks in my previous... You guys know I made the best trade on Tesla, right? You guys know that. The best trade in history. I sold at the peak top in 2021 before the bear market happened. We called the pullback. We called every single pump pullback. Absolutely insane. It's the best trade on public record too. Too bad I'm still a small channel. Oh well. Too bad. Too bad. All right, I think we can start now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just do another quick mic check. Please type Y or yes in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. I'm keeping the fan on in the background. I hope it's not too much of a hindrance to the volume. I can't do any mic test or volume test right now, so you guys are pretty much the only people that can tell me. So type yes if you guys could hear me. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's get started then. Let me remove this banner. And let's just do a quick disclaimer. So I'm going to pull up a disclaimer. The mic is going to stop out. It's kind of a funny disclaimer that I had to create. You guys see that? My ideas may not be the same as yours. If we don't agree, that's fine, and I'm sorry. And none of it is financial advice. And I'm sorry again. That's my disclaimer. I'm not having some kind of professional disclaimer. Everything is just educational, okay? So, it is what it is. I'm just sharing my thoughts here. All right, so let's get started. All right, welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of things to talk about, right? I mean, I'm just continuing to talk about this range right now, but overall, we're still working in this possible wave 3-4 that's now complete. I'm still assuming that this wave 4 is terminated. I'm not seeing another wave 4 happening, and I would say that we're going to be entering a larger pullback or some kind of bear market territory that we will be entering if we do break these lows once more. So I'm kind of in the middle. I don't agree with the bulls in that sense where we may be creating one more low where we create an ABC and then boom, and then we get supported and then we get out of here again. Just doesn't fit into that time perspective for a wave 4 in my opinion. Possible, but again, we got to learn how to reduce these probabilities and scenarios as best as we can, work with conviction as much as we can as well. So in my opinion, the only narrative that we're going to be working on from now on is building on a protected low for this wave 4, and then we're continuing out of here. That's the only way I'm currently seeing this market. Meaning that if we break this low, it's toast. If we get saved above this region, anywhere above this, it's all game. And it's green light to the upside. That's all I'm currently seeing right now. So with that being said, how can we build this structure here? Now we have a few possibilities. I don't know if you guys seen my latest video on Bitcoin, but it is something to really consider watching for everyone. I would highly recommend you watching it. But we did discuss the possibility for the past week or so in my analysis that we may be creating a leading diagonal. Now this leading diagonal could be created in a few variations. If it's a 5-wave move into the wave 1 of the leading diagonal itself, your waves 3 and 5 have to also follow suit as an impulse. That's kind of a stupid rule anyways. It's kind of... Actually, this is why Elliott waves theory is stupid at sometimes as well. I mean, I don't agree with it 100% all the time. It's just so strange. But at the same time, it's kind of voodoo magic at the same time, right? Well, anyways, 3-wave move off the lows is what we have right now, currently. It's still working correctively. That's all. It's just so simple. We just keep it simple. The move off the lows looks like it's a 3-wave move. So the only motive pattern going forward is this possible wave 1 that's going to be created as a leading diagonal. That's why I assumed it as early as I could, because we had a little bit of room to work with in terms of this being corrective and this being corrective. Now, that is quite a premature way of seeing the leading diagonal work in play, but you're going to have to force yourself to see this as a 5-wave move if you're seeing some kind of termination of a real wave 1 or 2, or we may be working in a deeper 1-2. That's the only way. So either 5 waves up as a forced 5-wave or an ABC. Now we're just going to work with the ABC idea. Now that narrows it down quite a bit. The 5-wave move right now is going to be kind of the alternative scenario, and this 3-wave move up into a subwave 1 is currently the only way I'm currently seeing it as a possible wave 1 of the leading diagonal. So we got that. We have equalities between waves W and Y respectively for this WXY, and now we're still working correctively to the upside. No real signs of an impulse, right? It's been chopping all weekend, all day, and now I'm still expecting higher levels to at least breach these levels here, break above, come back down into the territory of wave 1. That's a tendency, not a rule anymore. And then we break up, and then we create that subwave 5, and then we do a pullback for a wave 2 again. This is where everyone will be scared again, because, including me actually, because if we do get a deeper pullback for a wave 2 and we start going past major Fibonacci levels, then I'm going to be scared again, even if this is validated to its fullest. Anyways, the point is, we just work with what we have with the data, and the current time of recording is that we're still working correctively to the upside. That's how I'm currently seeing it. This is my main primary scenario. Who knows? I may be the first one to have ever called this leading diagonal scenario, and I'm pretty confident I did. People might be following suit now, that they might be able to identify this leading diagonal now. Props to you if you do. But for now, I'm here to make sure to share these ideas as early as possible. And right now, I am seeing this as a possible leading diagonal. That's just one mode of pattern that we can be creating it. Now, what if in the heck we just impulse the hell out of here? What if we just get out of here now and we don't even do this? Well, that idea resolves down to the 1-2 idea, meaning that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the lows. It's forced now, so we can remove that whole idea of that ABC, and now we're just working with the 5-wave move to the upside. We originally had this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, which is also possible, but again, we don't want to have 15,000 different scenarios like other people. We want to be narrowing it down as best as we can with relatively good geometry and symmetry. So with that being said, 5 waves up into a wave 1. We might as well just say that this is the larger degree of a wave 1. WXY is the same idea that we had for the leading diagonal. And similarly, we have that wave 2 corrected complete here. Now, I don't know how deep it went. Actually, I didn't even measure it. So let's measure it. Did we hit the 382? I'm sure we did. Yeah, we hit the 382. I'm sure we hit the 0.50 as well. Well, again, no, we didn't. So the 38.2% has been hit in between the 50% as well. So that's relatively okay on a smaller degree for a 1-2. Ideally, of course, you want to be meeting or at least getting some support on the 618 Fibonacci level before we actually go up. That's more characteristic of a wave 1-2 anyways. But a sideways 1-2, we've seen it time after time where wave 1-2s are shallow as well. So that's just how you want to accept it. It's up to you. Subjectively, to me, it doesn't really matter. It's just what we have with the current data given. So with that being said, I am currently seeing this as a 5-wave move up into wave 1. And now we have to separate everything going forward after this wave 1-2 is completed. Now, with the current data given, the only way we can do it is by creating some kind of diagonal of some sort that may be now complete for a wave 1-2, get a small pullback, and then we're off to the races for working in an extended wave 3. And we are now trying to complete 5 waves up for the intermediate degree wave 3, 4, 5 respectively. That'll create the larger 5-wave move up of a larger degree of a wave 1, and then wave 2 pullback, and then we're off. And that'll be very bullish to the upside. So that's how I'm currently seeing the markets, right? Now that's the second scenario. Now the third scenario is that it's starting to look less likely now, where we are seeing this wave 1-2 as a range now, okay? Either as a range or a deep wave B, meaning that we have a motive wave or an actionary wave going into wave A as a leading expanding diagonal because this was corrective. So we're separating everything as possible, best as possible. This is now a corrective range. It's the transitional wave, the B wave. And now we're looking for a resolution phase, which is the C wave. So that is how this ABC to the downside is going to be constructed. Now, Again, we can sit here all day and say this is a flat. It did hit the 90 to the 95% zone. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Boo-hoo. But to me, I like to see it as two different scenarios where I will be sharing the flat scenario just in a moment, but we can also just say that this was a leading expanding diagonal going to wave A. And here, similarly, WXY, or however you want to see it, ABC as a diagonal that's now completing this wave B. We're now looking for a 5-way move to the downside, okay? So that is one way we can be looking at it. Now, the fourth scenario is just more of a sub-scenario more than anything else. Just like I said, this could be the flat idea as well. But it really doesn't matter, because if we pull up every scenario, look at where every scenario ends up being. You can see they all lead to the same road, right? The end goal is what we need to be focusing on here. We need to be looking for the impulsive wave 3 to the upside, whatever degree it may be in. It doesn't matter. I think people focus too much on trying to be right on the micro time frames of a pullback. That's not how you should be trading it, ladies and gentlemen. Everything leads to the upside, you can see, right? But with that being said, this idea could be seen as a flat. I think just from an educational perspective, I think a lot of people like to validate their own structures, have a bias attached, and then work upon that idea, which is okay. Absolutely fine. But for now, this ABC is also a possibility as a flat now. Again, every scenario leads to the upside with this whole scenario, with the idea that we have a protected low. However low we may go, this wave 2 of whatever degree it may be in, the primary or intermediate degree, could be a possibility that we're still working towards the upside eventually. So that is the key point. That's why I guess I'm more of an educator here. I think a lot of people are seeing the Elliott wave theory in a more simplistic, more simple way of approach. That's my methodology. I think a few other handful of people on Twitter or YouTube maybe kind of overcomplicating it. It's just my opinion, and giving too many scenarios. I think that alone, where the end result, it confuses a lot of people. I'm here to make sure it's simple as possible while retaining the advanced patterns that are being created that everyone else may be seeing as an Elliottician. But I'm trying to narrow it down as best as I can where we can have some kind of resolution phase. That's exactly the end goal that we're looking for. So like I've said, all of these resolve at nearly the same spot, basically, right? If you can see, these all end in the same area anyways. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're looking for more further upside to the to at least eventually break this all-time high. And what is the most important thing? I think a lot of people lack conviction, both as a trader and both as an educator. So one thing that I truly believe is important is having conviction. And it's okay to be wrong. If you have conviction and you're working upon a narrative, you also build character on building your own analysis, right? So that's the important thing. Not as only an educator, but as a trader, you want to have conviction. You can't just go back and forth. The tools are given to us. So you just build the probabilities based on whatever fundamental aspect you may be seeing of the markets and whatever technical momentum indicator you may be looking at. Combine those and then build a bias, and then on top of that, use the Elliott wave theory and just work upon the rules and guidelines, and whatever you may not agree with, you just narrow down the scenarios as best as you can. There's really no reason to be extremely subjective about what pattern is going to be playing out exactly, because no one knows exactly what pattern is going to be playing out. As long as you have a resolution phase where everything is eventually leading to the upside, that's going to be the key point to how to build up your own conviction as a trader and also as an educator. So that's something to keep in mind. And so far right now, we have been building conviction that the leading diagonal is going to be in play more than anything else, and it's already coming to fruition. I don't know if we saw this on Twitter. If we go to our Twitter, we've been talking about this for the past week. I'm more than sure that I was probably the first one to talk about it, but we've been talking about this idea for quite some time because of the low of the three-way move. You just have to narrow down what kind of mode of correction or pattern you may be in, because the bounce off the lows, it's not something that you want to be dismissing. A 30% off the lows is not something to joke around with. So you obviously want to find an impulse off the lows, but if it's not an impulse and it's a 30% bounce, yeah, That is the important thing. That's why this three-wave move, that's why I had higher conviction. Okay, the 30% bounce is enough to convince me that we're going to be working towards more higher levels, but the only mode of pattern to the upside in terms of that is either the 1-2-1-2 or having a forced 5-wave move up and then having a wave 2 terminate, or kind of satisfy both sides of the bulls and bears where we may be working in a leading diagonal. So we have that. That's what the narration we've been trying to build for the past week too. Look what's happened. We hit that zone exactly for that WXY, 100%, boom, boom. This is what we're working on now, step by step, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, the conviction that I have right now, you can say it's luck, you can say it's whatever. I don't really mind. I don't care. You don't have to agree. Here, let me pull up the disclaimer once more. Let's pull up the disclaimer. Read it, ladies and gentlemen. My ideas may not be the same as yours, and I'm sorry. And if you don't agree, that's fine. So, with that being said, yeah, we're working for a 3-4-5 now, and we're just trying to confirm that's going to be happening. Now, let's pull up the shorter time frames. So, what can we pull from the shorter time frames? Again, the idea is working on the idea that the move off of the lows was corrective. Okay? Just looks more corrective to me. This here, I'm not sure why people would say this is an ABC. It's clearly a WXY. Clearly. So this is some kind of transitional wave, definitely. Either as a terminated wave 2 or part of a subwave 2. Okay? Or part of a next kind of corrective move that we may be looking for before it resolves. ABC, X, ABC. Partner leg, hit that 100%. Perfect. On spot. That is exactly what we were looking for. If you look here, this is exactly what we were looking for. That's the zone that we got into. Expected a bounce, didn't get that impulse off the lows. We expected the pattern to be continued as a corrective pattern, and that's what we're getting. It's very tricky right now to trade, very tricky to count. It's a no trade zone for this area here, definitely. But now that we have a little bit more data, could be looking like it's an ABC going into wave W, X as the transitional wave, and now we're looking for an ABC to the upside for a wave Y that eventually creates this WXY, and we're looking for the same equality that we're going to be here. If it breaks above and we hit that 161.8 zone, then we may be working in a different case of a possible move to the upside, right? So right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's very simple. All we have to do is, if we have the same narrative of a bullish momentum, why are we so sad that it's just going to continue up? Again, people are trying to validate their structures as best as they can, and they're trying to be right all the time. That's not how you should be approaching the markets, all right? So that's another tip that I'm giving you guys, if there are any educators in here watching. So again, a mixed balance of conviction as well. So we got this 1, 2, we're working for this wave 3, and then this should be the WXY in itself. Now, it could really be anything, basically. We can say that this is part of an ABC. This could be the W, could be working in a Y, X, and then have another ABC to the upside. But again, they'll be extending it in time a little bit. So just right now with the current data given, it looks like we're trying to break this regional high right here. We're so close to it anyways, right? So breaking this at the top is going to be whether the continuation of the momentum is going to happening or not. That is the question that is going to be on everyone's mind as the next step. So we're going to be one step ahead of everyone and talk about what possibility we may have. So we have the possibility of a 1-2 completed, and we may be working in another 1-2 to the upside. So that's another possibility if we do get a pullback. I wouldn't be too worried until this low breaks here. So that's the conviction to keep in mind as well, meaning that we have that higher degree wave 1-2 in play, and a breakage of this point here, easy. It just invalidates the 1-2-1-2 idea. Easy, very simple. If not, the deeper 1-2 is also a possibility, but we also do have the possibility that we may be working in an A, B, C structure if we do move to the lower levels as a possible flat idea. Now, if you're a short-term trader, you may be salivating over this, but again, you are really playing with fire here, because right now it's extremely difficult to say we're going to be breaking the lows once more if you're a bull. So you're trying to essentially fight the markets That's a completely different topic of risk management, but here it is. We're just working in a possible flat idea, and then we're moving to the upside. We did hit that 92, the 95% zone. Ideally, I would like to see the 95 to the 100% to at least give us a relatively good look of a flat, of a normal flat. But again, the problem with normal flats is that they're really rare in itself. I think no one really mentions this idea. The idea of a flat is very rare if you have it only at the 90 to the 99%. I'm still pushing it. I would say 95 to 100% would be accepted as a normal flat. However, we don't really see normal flats play out quite often. In fact, we usually see a breakage of the previous origin of this wave one, then, or the termination of wave one, and then we see a fake out, and then we do that. That's a tendency that I have been observing in the markets. That is something that I have been personally observing, that expanded flats are actually more common than both, not just the running flat, but also the normal flat idea as well. So don't overcomplicate it. Whatever observations that you are seeing in the markets may be right. Your gut instincts may be possibly more correct than often wrong, right? How many times have you been in a position where you're like, dang, I think I should have opened a short, or I should have opened a long? Your gut instincts more often were probably right against all odds, right? That's something to keep in mind. I mean, how many of you are in a short right now and probably sweating right now? You're probably thinking, just looking at all of these options on the table, you're probably thinking, dang, I should have entered a long, right? Or if you're in a short right now, it's like you're probably working on hope right now, right? So that's how you have to also take into consideration of the possibilities, or probabilities rather. So that's that. Again, regular flats are very rare in this market, especially with crypto markets. It likes to fake out people because there's liquidity grabs. So that's why expanded flats are just more common in this market. That's why we see statistically, I would assume that expanded flats are far more common than actual regular flats. So if we do break this, create a new price extreme for wave B, then this expanded flat, I would assume that this wave C would actually break below this. Now, running flat is fantastic as well, but again, we got to be neutral here. Expanded flats are more common, where we see another fake out breaking this previous termination of wave A, and then we move to the upside. So that's something to keep in mind if we do in fact go down for one more move to the downside. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, what if we do create another low to the downside as a deep B wave where we don't even reach this high here? Well, first of all, now the flat is validated. You can just say that we're working a flat, but what if we want to come down to these levels here? That's why I don't like to mix the flats and deep B waves of normal zigzags. So what does that mean? The next possible idea is having this as some kind of leading expanding diagonal, where we have now an actionary wave that's actually being created as a 5-wave move. So we have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of a 3-wave move as a WXY. We then work with a possible A, and then a deep B, and then we can work with the C. That helps validate the possibility that we could be working in a deeper B wave, and then that C wave can be followed suit, that we may be working towards lower levels of that major golden Fibonacci level zone. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, what other important factor of this idea can be translated onto the higher time frames? We've been talking about this for quite some time, that a lot of people now in hindsight is just kind of laughing it off, right? A lot of people were seeing this as some kind of combination, or some kind of, double three, or, triple three that's happening. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. If you're on the macro, it looks like some kind of move is completed here. The general markets that don't look at the Elliott wave theory, or don't know anything about the theory, and probably 90% of you don't even know the theory here, is that this doesn't look like some kind of combination structure, okay? No one is looking at it. All they're looking at is higher lows being created, lower highs being created, or whatever is being created. We're creating a range of some sort. So how is that best translated to the Elliott wave theory in simplistic terms? How is the markets looking at it? And that's how you should be translating it for your wave theory counts as well. You don't want to be overcomplicating it. A lot of people were saying this was some kind of, we were probably working in some kind of combination flat when we were talking about this being, a move to the upside, and then this being a downside. Out of the picture. Bitcoin likes to resolve their ranges at a certain time. Wave 2 has been completed around the same amount of time, and right now this wave 4 is about the same amount of time as well. I would assume this is pretty much the last straw for wave 4. Now this is where I don't agree with the bulls, meaning that I don't think that we will be creating one more low for a wave 4 and then we move out of here. Just doesn't seem likely. At this point, if we're going to be looking at the bearish structure, I would see this as a possible leading expanding diagonal that's now resolved entirely, meaning that we're seeing the 5-wave structures that is now complete, and we're finally ready to move out of here, meaning that we have completed this whole range as the beginning actionary wave of a wave 1. So this does overlap with the idea that this wave 4 could be in support, but in my opinion, I think we'll go down much further than what other people are anticipating. So if that's the case, seeing this as an intermediate wave 2 or a primary 2, whatever it is, and if you're seeing one more high to the upside as a WXY, this wave 2 should resolve anywhere around these regions here as a deep wave 2, and then we move down for a wave 3. I don't think we will be supported once more. It just doesn't make sense. We've hit the first liquidity zone, and it scared off a lot of the bears already, but will they recharge themselves rather, and then we'll go for that wave 3? That is what I would expect if we're going to be sticking with the bearish scenario. So that is how I'm seeing it. I don't think this level is going to be highly enough to be supported. The only support is going to be the internal waves for this extended wave 3, meaning that if we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's how I would see it. The only support would be in the sense that it would be a wave 3, 4, get some kind of support within that region, and then create that 3, 4, and then we resolve for that 5th wave to the downside, eventually creating a 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 to the downside, or back down to the 27 to the 30K regions once more. And that, in my opinion, is going to be the larger move of the flat idea that a lot of people are kind of dismissing, right? Either that, or it can be really bearish. We can just say that this is the beginning of the first actionary wave, where this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, have a deep 1, 2, and then this could be extremely deep. Who knows? You never know. But for now, we don't have enough data, nor do we have enough conviction to say any of these scenarios. Just for now, this idea is really low in probability still, but the flat idea still does exist since we did create a new price extreme for this wave B. So what did I say earlier? Expanded flats are more common, so I would expect this low to eventually break if we do have that happen, and that'll be meeting us around the $5,000 to the $10,000 regions. Really open up for your imagination, but right now I don't see that happening. I know you guys want me to see it. You want me to say it, but I'm not. I'm just a bull right now. You guys know me. I was the biggest bear when we were trading around 70K. You guys know this. I was calling for this leading diagonal, or this ending diagonal here, and we were looking for this extreme pullback around 25%. That's what we got. I was an extreme bull at this point. No one believed me. We got this point up here, and I was extremely bearish at that point as well, and I was extremely bullish at this point, and this move caught me off guard, but still I was able to identify a possible wave 4 in play. I do think that this is going to be the conviction going forward still, and I think that we are going to be creating this possible leading diagonal, 1, 2 idea, or this idea as a flat. As you can see, all of these ideas in combination, we all more or less have the same end goal to the upside. That's the key point, and that's how you should be narrowing it down. Either your strategy from there, that's how you build it. Upon that, it's all fair and game, and depends on how you would like to see the structure being built and how your risk management strategy is going to be built upon that. Everyone is different. That's why the markets exist. No AI could beat the humans in terms of the market psychology. Boom. That's how you have to be trading this market, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be one step ahead. Utilize the LA wave theory entirely to your advantage. Also, the wave structures are not going to be perfect. No rule or guideline is going to be giving you the exact target, nor the exact zone of the level that you're going to be looking for. It's the general direction of the markets that you want to be positioning yourself as best as you can, and that is how the LA wave theory should be utilized. Okay, we don't want to be utilizing the LA wave theory as a said be all and said all type of kind of analysis approach. We got to utilize all of the poker chips as best as you can. Okay, so with that being said, I think that concludes my BTC analysis. I think that the macro is still intact, where we may be still in that possible wave 4, meaning that if we do this count one more time, we are seeing this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relatively really nice looking structure in my opinion. We have all the necessary structures. I think we also met the possibility. Yeah, everything is it's just working upon each other right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm currently seeing this continue up. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me to be extremely bearish, and with each pullback a lot of people just automatically turn bearish. It's just, everyone has their own difference of opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but if we do break down, I don't see a wave 4 happening one more time and then we move up. It just seems so strange, and it's not even channeling at that point, right? It's just so stupid. It can happen, but I'm not saying it's the idea that we should be looking for. I think we should be looking for a far more bearish structure if we do see some weakness within these levels once more. And just similarly, don't see anything happening going forward in terms of that. So this or this. And me, right now, I'm choosing this. So difference of opinions, ladies and gentlemen, that's just how it is. You may not agree with me. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You don't have to agree with me. So yeah, hopefully that was the best way or best approach for you guys in terms of building your second opinion, or at least getting a second opinion for how I'm seeing the markets. Are there any questions now? Let's get some questions, because I think a lot of people are interested in questions for Bitcoin's price action. So let's pull up the chat now. I think I've done a fairly good job of covering this. I'm getting pretty good at this YouTube game now, I think, right? I think I am. Just going over all the bits and pieces, not ranting too much, trying to just give the more educational approach, trying to just give the neutral bias as best as you can, and then having that slight conviction or my personal view on what I see possibly going forward. I think that's just the recipe for building up a proper Elliott wave conviction or theory. You know, it's a sequence of the analysis, how it plays out. It's a narrative, it's a story, right? So whoever is trying to build a story, you know, if you're building 15,000 different scenarios in the shorter time frames or on the larger time frames, it's just not only confusing yourself, but it's confusing your followers as well, right? So, you know, that's why we build upon conviction, and that's where a lot of hate will come in. But if you do it right, it all comes into play, and then, you know, you're still going to get hate no matter what. But there's so many people, when you're right, they want you to be wrong, and when you're wrong, they really want to bash on you for being wrong. That's fine too. I don't really care. I have no time for that anyways. But I'm merely an educator here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm trying to give you guys the best conviction on my personal view. And so far, we've traded this whole range, although very boring, but I did my best to make sure it's, you know, exciting as possible using the Elliott wave theory. But yeah, that's how we're currently viewing Bitcoin. Now, what about Ethereum? I think Ethereum is very interesting as well. Now, Ethereum, in my opinion, we can build this from scratch, actually. I do believe that we may be working in a larger triangle. Now, this is where things get tricky, because it tells us where the positioning we may be for altcoins, right? So where are we for altcoins? That's the question. That's the million-dollar question a lot of people are asking. So if we do a bottom-up analysis and also a top-down analysis, let's start from the bottom up, meaning that let's see how this current range is building up, and does it kind of match in terms of the puzzling with Bitcoin? Let's check. So right now we have a leading diagonal going into wave A, B, and C. This should be the primary degree, so that'll be labeled in yellow. We have a leading diagonal going to wave A. Not the best looking, but it is what it is. Three-way move up into A, three-way move down into B, three-way move up into C, three-way move respectively. That completes our for B wave. We have pretty good equilibrium with that being said. And then we have this very impulsive wave C. That is our resolution phase. Remember, we are looking for the beginning actionary, the transitional wave, and then we have the resolution. That's my methodology, right? We're looking for partner legs accordingly. We also hit more or less more beyond the equality, but also within the well-respected targets of that 161.8 and also the 100%, right? So what's very interesting about this though is that we're supported on the 100% with 2 solid candles. So that's showing you that there's interest in these levels. Markets love equality. These are what the markets love to look at. Equality is the key point that a lot of people are looking for. And that's why the 100% is a very, very important thing. I think that's how Elliott himself and also Fibonacci combined has looked at it. That's why geometry and symmetry also exist. So with that being said, from bottom up, how does this fit into a larger perspective or a larger time frame for Ethereum? Now, we've lost the idea of that 1-2-1-2 idea. Man, I should have disregarded that idea from the get-go because I was very sound that this was not a 1-2-1-2, but this move up really confused me personally. This 1-2-1-2 idea just seems so off, just didn't have the right characteristic for some reason, but I'm so glad it's out of the way now. Now, what does that mean? This idea is possibly now a triangle. What does that mean? That's working in a 1-2. This is now the 3. We're positioned in a macro 3, and then we're working for a 4. So how would this triangle be built up? We got an ABC. This was definitely a 3-wave corrective structure, right? So the primary degree of an ABC to the downside. This seems very 3-wave-ish. We also have a WXY, ABC going into W, X, and then Y. Okay, and then that 3-wave move. Now, this is the bottom-up analysis. So how are we constructing this triangle? Simple. A, B, C, D, E. And we're looking for the apex to now resolve, and then boom, boom. Now, very interestingly, it's very difficult to say how Ethereum is going to be playing out because there are so many different ways we're looking at the markets right now in terms of the positioning. Ethereum is positioned within a triangle similarly to XRP, XLM, so forth, right? So this is a high market cap coin, right? That's the first thing that we have to kind of narrow down. The second thing is we're only positioned within the wave C of the triangle if we're in a macro wave 3 or 4, right? So that makes us a little bit skeptical in terms of this triangle in that sense, right? So let's just say we are in this triangle. We are positioned within this wave C. Now, where does XRP lie right now? This is another high cap coin. XRP is in a completely different phase. It's in already a completed triangle, basically. So if this is the case, A, B, C, D, E, XRP is ready for a 5th wave already. So we may be positioned basically where we may have been positioned in the 2018 bear market, where XRP, a lot of these mid-cap and high-cap coins have gone for a run. So if XRP goes for a run, how is Ethereum going to go for a run? That is a question that could be asked towards yourself. I'm not sure how that can be, but the only way I can count it is that this is a 1-2 running flat. That's the only way I can see it. Okay, a 1-2 running flat, another 1-2 that's being created, and then we're off to the races. That's the only way I can currently see it. I can't see 1-2, it just doesn't make sense. The only way I can see this is a 1-2, 1-2 idea, and then this would be extremely bullish, but that's not how I'm seeing the markets. I'm seeing a resolution phase for a lot of these coins. Similarly, I don't see Ethereum running as strong as XRP or XLM. That's kind of my key notation that I'm trying to input here. So we're trying to figure out what is the best way we can be putting it. So with that being said, I think I lost connection here, ladies and gentlemen. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Are we good? Are we all good here, ladies and gentlemen? Please type yes in the chat. Someone. Okay, I'm back. All right. Whew, scared me there. High-speed internet, but I'm losing connection. So, yeah, that's how I'm seeing Ethereum, XRP. I'm seeing it differently. Boom. Seeing it as a larger triangle. Resolve. We're out of here soon. Very soon. Very, very soon. I'm seeing this move to the upside very, very soon. So, XRP, that's how I'm seeing it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing it go up to the upside. XLM, same thing. ADA is in a different position. It's in a 1-2 rather. Now we're looking for a move to the upside for this intermediate wave 3. I'm giving you guys all these free tidbits, man. Looks like BTC right now at this time is trying to retest that high. We're trying to retest this high right now, looks like. Boom, boom, boom. We're trying to get above it again. This dump here was just a fake out again. So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to try to keep it short here. Thanks for joining the live stream. I will make sure to do more updates. Please make sure to go watch my previous video on Bitcoin. I basically explain everything as much as I can. If you guys are interested in joining the X-Force Discord membership, you know, speak out, members. I don't know, how many members do we have here from X-Force Discord membership? I know it's a paywall, but still, I have to promote, right? But yeah, if you're interested in joining the X-Force Discord membership, the link is in the description below. If you want a little bit more exclusivity from YouTube and have maybe a little bit more updates, trying to get a taste of what the YouTube videos are like outside of the public videos, I do updates on Wednesdays and Fridays, depending on what tier you're in. The Patreon link is also in the link description below. That can be a very good trial way of getting into what you can expect from X-Force Global. And then also, social media. Maybe you guys are already enjoying the free content as is and content with that. Who knows? But thank you very much for joining me. I am very, very appreciated. Please hit that like button once again, ladies and gentlemen. And also subscribe if you haven't already, because this alone helps me create videos, ladies and gentlemen. It really, really does. When I get 1 subscriber, it shows interest. It really does. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, please go watch my previous video on Bitcoin if you haven't already, and a lot of my altcoin videos. I'm basically doing this on the daily, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking so much time in my personal life and trying to do this new YouTube thing as well. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.